The dull brown vase on your top shelf, the one you've been meaning to donate, could be worth more than the car in your driveway. In many homes, the most valuable objects look dated or muddy, while the shiny pieces people display proudly are worth almost nothing. When you are clearing out an inherited estate, time is against you. The house has to be emptied, decisions are rushed, and exhaustion sets in. In that environment, people naturally rely on a quick visual scan to sort the trash from the treasure. They look across the room and decide what looks expensive, boxing up anything that appears dull or cheap. Evaluating items strictly by appearance speeds up the cleanout process, but it practically guarantees that 5- or 6-figure assets are discarded as clutter. Actual market value is completely disconnected from room scale aesthetics. You cannot accurately judge an antique from 3 feet away. To protect your assets, we have to separate market value from the myth of antique beauty using a reliable evaluation framework. This chart maps out a common mistake. On the horizontal axis, we have aesthetic appeal, and on the vertical, we have actual market value. Most owners mistakenly conflate the two. Shiny, modern decor pieces frequently lock into the bottom right quadrant. They look expensive to the untrained eye, but they are mass-produced and often worth less than $20. Muddy, heavy American art pottery sits on the opposite end. These pieces often look dated or unattractive, yet makers like Rookwood or McCoy command prices reaching tens of thousands of dollars. Moving out of the low-value quadrant requires abandoning visual bias. You have to adopt the professional dealer's 10-second tactile protocol. You must stop treating these objects as passive furniture. Protecting your family's assets requires physically interacting with the pieces to uncover the data that dictates their price. The 10-second tactile sort relies on 3 fast actions. We begin with the highest ROI move, flipping the piece over. Inspect the base for physical impressions. Rookwood carries a flame mark, while Roseville uses a specific raised script. The specific trade-off here is reliability. You are only looking for marks physically pressed or raised in the clay. Printed marks sit on the surface, which is where most fakes live. High-value iridescent art glass often features a pontole, a smooth ground spot on the bottom, alongside the letters LCT, identifying it as authentic Tiffany Favrile. Condition is a massive factor for this type of glass. Its market value is fragile. A single hidden crack or tiny chip can drop a 4-figure price by 80% instantly. Then there is the high-risk category, Chinese porcelain. Million-dollar imperial pieces frequently hide directly among mass-produced gift shop copies. The column of characters on the bottom, the rain mark, is the most faked element in the antique world. Relying on the signature alone is a significant financial risk. Flipping the item provides essential data, but a mark is just a starting point. Truly verifying these pieces requires an expert look at the physical body and glazes. The second branch of the protocol ignores aesthetics entirely, relying strictly on how an object feels. When you need to test English art pottery like Moorcroft, close your eyes and slowly run your thumb across the floral designs. Authentic Moorcroft features raised 2-blind ridges of clay that feel like piped icing. That physical texture proves slow, expensive handcraftsmanship. The trade-off is clear. If the design feels perfectly flat to the touch, it is a printed copy with no resale value. Sight alone is deceptive here. We can apply material scratch testing to intricately pierced, reticulated Chinese vases. Because they often look gaudy or overworked, they are frequently dismissed as junk. Press a steel blade to a hidden spot. True high-value jade is harder than steel and will not scratch. If the tool leaves a mark, you are holding soft stone rather than a 5-figure asset. Authentic value is encrypted into the physical texture of an object. Tactile verification is the only reliable way to separate handcrafted treasures from worthless lookalikes. The final evaluation branch involves observing how the object's surface finish interacts with direct light. Take a tall, twisted glass vase or Weller-Sicard pottery and tilt it slowly in front of a bright window or a lamp. You are looking for a specific signal, an intentional oil-on-water iridescence, or a deep metallic shimmer that seems to float just under the surface. Owners often make a catastrophic mistake here. They see this dark metallic shimmer and misinterpret it as decades of dirt, tarnish, or neglect. Using a chemical cleaner to scrub that iridescence off permanently destroys the object's entire market value. That tarnish is often the most valuable part of the object. The light test also identifies rare clear glass, where you are looking for intentional, loose, painterly bands of color fused directly into the piece. Direct light exposes the maker's specific intent, identifying high-value collectibles that otherwise blend in with common household clutter. This scorecard distills the entire process into a minimum viable protocol for any cleanout or thrift hunt. If you are clearing an estate under pressure, adopt the habit of turning every vase over. It adds only seconds to your workflow while protecting five-figure assets from being overlooked. For thrifters, hunting strictly for these tactile and light signals and walking away from pretty but common objects enables significant financial arbitrage. The definitive rule of this protocol is simple. If you find any of these three signals, cease all cleaning immediately to preserve the object's market value. The ugliest vase in the house is the one that has earned a second look. A 10-second tactile check ensures that an object worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, doesn't accidentally end up in the donation bin.